Levy Ndou, political analyst now, for some analysis on this development. Levy, it's great to talk to you, and I'm sure you were listening in on what Mahlengi Bengu Motsiri was saying there. She says, as a parting shot, that they really want to focus in this briefing on the plight and conditions of people elsewhere because of what we went through as a country. I'm interested to find out what you think about her past tense use of us having gone through when the conditions of so many people in South Africa continue to this day.
Good afternoon to you, Michelle. Good afternoon to the viewers at home. Indeed, this should be seen as an attempt by the ruling party to specifically identify specific areas that they've identified in their manifestos, and they want to bring in emphasis on such areas. Mm-hmm. And you'll agree with me that like many other political parties, the ANC would have specific areas to focus on, and certain individuals are given such responsibilities to deal with. But at the same time, on the matter that we just touched on, that deals with this former Speaker of the National Assembly, the ANC leaders should always be aware that at any given time from today until the 29th of May, if they appear in public in one way or another, some of the people will want to talk about this matter, because whether it was a good or a bad timing, the fact is that the Speaker of the National Assembly appeared yesterday in court, and that cannot be a matter that can just be shied away. Another aspect that we spoke about, that we touched on, relates to the plight of those that are outside South Africa and South Africa's response and attitude towards those. And I think if you look at the Freedom Charter and the program that the ANC and government has embarked on since we spoke about democracy, has been to have a specific area of focus that is to deal with the plight of those that are outside the country. And that, in my view, is part of the program of the governing party in its efforts to extend its arms in Africa and in the whole world.
Certainly. And just to be clear as well, Levy, you cannot downplay, one cannot downplay the scenes that played out in the Pretoria Magistrates Court yesterday. This is the former Speaker of the National Assembly appearing in court on several charges of corruption and money laundering. This is not something that the ANC or any other political party, if indeed it was another political party involved, can choose to not answer in a media briefing.
On the list of the priority areas that the ANC has to talk to when they campaign, they should always be reminded that the issue of the former Speaker is also going to be highlighted. But I think what the ANC would always do, which other parties would do, would be to want to focus on the specific issues that could have necessitated certain meetings to be arranged. My view is that the ANC should do itself a favor, arrange a press conference where they'll have to deal with the Mapisa Ngakula issue, because if they don't do so, ordinary citizens and journalists, the only chance that they get to interact with the leaders of the ANC, they'll want to get clarity on matters surrounding the former Speaker of the National Assembly.
Certainly. And I think there was one stage where Naledi Pandor actually said to the spokesperson of the ANC, there was a moment there where there were questions around whether this panel could answer ANC-related questions. And Naledi Pandor herself said, of course we can. We are deployees of the ANC, of the governing party.
Indeed. What becomes central, in my view, is that this press conference for today was specifically meant to deal with international matters or foreign matters as articulated by the ANC. And whether you like it or not, and I want to emphasize, as long as the matter of Pisang Makula is not yet brought onto the fore by the ANC, ordinary citizens will still want to ask questions because a lot of clarity is actually required. It could be that at some point, whether you are in the leadership of the ANC or occupy a specific position in the ANC, you might not be at liberty to answer or discuss certain issues. And that is why, in my view, the ANC, maybe through the Office of the Secretary General, should actually be at the forefront to ensure that many matters surrounding the former Speaker of the National Assembly are brought onto the fore, so that they should avoid a situation where in every single meeting, issues surrounding the Speaker would actually be asked.
No, certainly. Not to labor the point, but the manifesto pledge, according to Dr. Naledi Pandor, is around a whole range of issues. Yesterday's briefing was on priority 6, which is about building a better Africa and a better world. But she did also, in a closing remark, say that the manifesto pledge is to drive more progress, to drive more action, and to drive more accountability. Right? So we were merely, as journalists, answering that statement from Naledi Pandor.
Nothing is wrong by journalists to do so. And whether you like it or not, journalists everywhere still want to get clarity on the ANC's position regarding the Speaker of the National Assembly. The ANC can still move and arrange other press conferences on other priorities of their manifesto. But as long as they do not provide clarity or prioritize the issue of the former Speaker, that is the issue that is going to crop out on a regular basis.
Certainly.
Dr. Pandor could be right to say we provide accountability or we're only focusing on priority number 6. But as long as they have delays in dealing with this matter, they might call it disruptive, they might call it by any other name, but ordinary citizens will love to hear exactly how the ANC clarifies this matter, because it might not easily disappear from many people. At the same time, it's important for political parties to go out and read the mood out there so that they identify areas that will require priority, and I expect the ANC to do exactly that.
Yeah. Levy, ordinary citizens, as you say, would love to know, but more than that, they deserve to know, right? They have a right to know. Let's move on and actually focus on priority 6 and what Naledi Pandor had to say about this pledge by the ANC to build a better Africa and to build a better world. And of course, she uses especially the Ethiopia-Tigray peace agreement, which is, for the reasons that she stated, also called the Pretoria Agreement. We know that that deal was actually signed in Pretoria. And then, of course, the incredible work done by Team South Africa insofar as the Israel-Gaza conflict is concerned, the case South Africa brought against Israel at the International Court of Justice.
I think what the ANC is attempting to do here is to put an emphasis on what has been in their plan since the dawn of democracy. And what they've always emphasized has been the issue that relates to peace and friendship among states in Africa and beyond. And what they've also emphasized has been issues that relates to the pursuance of the Africa's agenda, dealing with matters of peace, dealing with multilaterals, dealing with human rights, gender, social justice, and fighting poverty and underdevelopment. And if you look at the track record of the ANC government since 1994, they've always been a source of peace and stability where there has been areas of conflict and fight. South Africa has always been an active participant in bringing peace in areas like Burundi, in the Great Lake regions, in Lesotho, and many, many other countries in Africa. So my sense is that the ANC saying, we have done more in terms of ensuring that there is peace and stability, and we are actually going to continue doing so. And the recent cases of what South Africa has been doing on matters relating to Israel and Palestine are issues that are still very fresh in our minds. And my sense is that South Africa is saying, apart from the challenges that we face in South Africa, we also have an agenda to deal with issues that are affecting the African continent and indeed the entire world.
Certainly. Political analyst Levy Ndou, let me thank you for your time and for your patience.